Hi, this is Ethan, and today we're going to be talking about the basics of sound design and specifically synth programming. I've spent probably 10,000 hours learning each one of these synths, going through very detailed lessons, and then I've kind of discovered that they're all built the same. So what I'd like to do is save you about 1,000 hours of screwing around with other tutorials and give you a chance to just look at these in general and be able to learn how to read an interface, no matter who's made it. I'm looking at Logic here. We're going to look at Ableton. We'll look at some Native Instrument stuff as well. So, without further ado, let's take a look here. Basically, every synth is designed with something makes the sound, something filters the sound, and then there's some modulation. So, in terms of synthesis, the oscillator makes the sound. See right here. This has two oscillators in this particular one. We've got one that sounds like this, which we can change with the dial. And we've got a sub-oscillator as well. Okay, pretty straightforward. Basically, oscillators make the sound. We'll also see that this works with samplers as well. Then we have a filter. A filter removes part of the sound. So this is like a low-pass filter. Basically, anything above this cutoff gets removed. So here's a lot of highs. And then we lose all the highs. Okay? Resonance is basically a bump where the cutoff is. So if we turn this way up, that's how you get those very squeaky sounds. Okay? Modulation basically is changing a sound over time. And we can do this through LFOs, or low frequency oscillators. We can also do it through envelopes, which I'll show you a little later on a different one. Basically, there's going to be some way to assign stuff. So this is a low frequency oscillator. You can see it's assigned to the pitch. And then if I crank this up, oops, now you'll see this is initiated via the mod wheel. So if I turn my mod wheel up, okay, we get a little vibrato there. There's other ways of doing it as well. We can get some, more obvious curves to this. We can get some slower or faster curves. Basically, a low frequency oscillator is like a loop. So it's going to go up and down and up and down. Okay? Now, if we go to the next synth, it's basically made the same. Here's oscillators. Looks a little different, but it still works exactly the same. We've got a filter here. We've got two filters, actually, that we control by moving this blend knob. And we've got an LFO here, another one here. We've got two envelopes that can be assigned. Well, really three. This one is based on the volume of the sound. You can see it says envelope 3 volume. So, similarly, we've got a wave selector. Okay, we can have 2 or 3 of those going at the same time. And we've got a little mix control here. Okay. We've got a filter here. Okay. We can also choose a filter in this particular synth. We've got low pass, removes high end, high pass does the opposite, removes low end, peak, you're basically setting like an EQ bump. Got a band reduction. Okay, we can use that to create chorus sounds. It's basically a notch filter and a band pass. which removes everything around this frequency. So this is kind of like a mid-range type of pass. Okay. 2 LFOs here. And there's always a way to assign it. In this synth, we assign it through the middle here. So I can say target, and I've got a big list to choose from. So let's say cutoff. We'll say via LFO1. And we say how much with this slider. Now we've got dubstep. We can also take envelope 1 and control how much it. An envelope basically is it'll move the knob one time unless we're in massive. Okay, so the attack is how long it takes that filter to move. Okay. Next synth. Same idea. We're really going to hammer this home. Here is our oscillator. Basically choose what kind of curve. We choose the cutoff here. We actually have a little filter envelope here too. Okay. Next one, you'll see basically the same thing. Oscillator, filter, envelope, right here. Okay. Massive, even a big one like this. We have oscillators. This works a little differently. It works kind of on a wavetable, but same idea. We've got lots of filters, which is kind of fun. And we've got our envelopes. We've got 4 envelopes. We've got 4 LFOs. The cool thing about Massive is that you can have a little bit of a step sequencer in here as well. So for example, I could drag this up to there, say how much I want it to do, choose sync. Okay, but the idea is still the same. Oscillator, filter, some kind of modulation. Okay, even the big things like absinthe, if it'll come up, here we go. We've got oscillators, and I can of course choose what type of oscillator I want. And I can combine many. Let's not do a ring modulation there. Okay, we've got envelopes. Nice thing about this is that you can make about any envelope you want. So I can take volume, pitch. If I had filters in there, I could choose to put an envelope on a filter, and I would just draw the curve basically. We've got LFOs here. So different layout, but still pretty much the same. If we look at a sampler, you see this looks a lot like that other Logic synth, the ES2. We've got, instead of an oscillator, we've got a sample, but we've still got a filter. And I can even choose what kind a little bit. Okay. We can also assign things. We've got 3 LFOs. We've got an envelope. So I can, dubstep a Barry Stax. Okay. If we look at the Ableton synths, kind of the same thing. Got a operator here. The difference with operator is that you can run this in several different ways. We can run it, kind of as an FM type of synthesizer, or we can run it in parallel. I'm going to choose that for now. Choose our wave. Notice we have an oscillator here. We have an LFO here, which is assigned to the pitch for whatever reason. And basically, there's always going to be some type of assignment here. So instead of assigning that to the pitch, we'll assign it to the filter. Okay. Then we can also say how much, basically. Or we can assign to the pitch and create a little vibrato. Okay. Same thing with analog in Ableton. We've got an oscillator, filter, and we've got LFO. Same thing, you're going to be looking for where can I assign this, how do I assign this, basically. Okay. We can also look at the sampler. So here's our sample. You notice I have a filter here. Okay. We've even got modulation. We can do LFO types of stuff. Cool thing about the sampler in Ableton is that we can assign FM, which is modulation, to it. So we've taken that kind of simple sound and made something totally different just through frequency modulation. Okay, so the basic thing that I want you to get out of this is every synth is the same to some extent. Everything's going to have something that makes the sound, something that filters out frequencies, and then something that can make it change over time. Either it's an LFO or it's an envelope. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that. Feel free to leave me a comment if you'd like, and I'll get into some specific synths later.